A lot of us think and dream about starting our own business, but getting there is actually the hard part. I'm here with Alexis Welsko today, who is the founder and CEO of Lola Red Public Relations. And you started your business from the ground up.
At the age of 22.
Which is very amazing. Oftentimes we start these businesses in our own homes. I think that's how you got started.
Exactly. I was living in Boulder, Colorado in a 450 square foot condo. I had the tools such as the internet, an 800 number, an email address, a printer that gave me everything that I needed to develop a service-based business, which is what public relations is.
Well, and I think that's really interesting too, because oftentimes when we think about starting a business, a lot of us are sort of doers, and we can make something, but often maybe don't think outside the box about starting something where you don't have to make a thing.
As women, we're all consumers. So we are consumers. We want, and I think many of us have the dream of seeing what we make in stores. The hard part though is that that's a challenge to scale. How many things can you make? What happens if everybody wants one?
Right.
You can't
Which
be
is
sitting,
a dream,
it's an absolute dream, but making it in your home or making it in your basement becomes a challenge pretty quickly. And so I think a lot of times people discount services and the fact that everybody needs services, whether it's housekeeping, whether it's accounting or bookkeeping or lawn care.
I think that's true. So public relations is fascinating to me. Let's talk a little bit about what exactly that entails, because I don't think a lot of people really do have a firm grasp on that.
There's two things. There's advertising and then there's public relations. Advertising, those are the full page glossy things that you see in newspapers, in magazines. Public relations is the editorial that's on the other pages that is not paid for. So we spend our time going and pitching the people that write all of that editorial content on ideas, on products, on services that we believe they'll find attractive, but also that our clients pay us to get these editors engaged and make them super knowledgeable on the product or the service.
I think that's really interesting, because anybody knows that you can pay for an advertisement, but to actually have a writer write about your thing or recommend your thing gives it more credibility oftentimes than paying for that ad.
Absolutely. And people sometimes estimate what a value of a public relations mention is against ad value, but that's not a good practice.
Right.
Because public relations is so different, and it's word of mouth marketing. And so, and a lot of times, and especially now in sort of the new age of media, people are following the editors, they're following the reporters. They feel like they know them, and that they're in their family with social media. Yes, and so the recommendation actually it's multiplied.
It goes much further. Yes,
exactly.
I think that's really interesting. So, your business, we talked about actually making physical goods versus offering a service, but eventually you get to a point where you can't be the one doing all that. So when do you decide to take on an employee?
First off, I think you need to make a decision on where you want to go with this, with your business. What is your goal? Is it just to take care of your family month to month? Or is this a bigger dream? Is this something that you want to build and to sell? I studied entrepreneurship, and so my first lesson was that you need to have an exit plan. Okay. So I think you start with that. I think then looking at how can you multiply the money that you are making or the product or service that you are providing. If you need to, if you have the ability to multiply it, that's when you have to start hiring employees.
Okay.
And in hiring employees, you also need to determine what are you absolutely best at. So in my business, it took me, after probably 4 years, I hired my first employee. And what I knew when I hired that person was that I am horrible at the day-to-day. I am horrible.
Okay.
So writing the press releases, following up on all of the pitches, I can do it, but it takes me probably 3 times longer than it takes another person.
Okay.
So I hired someone that reduced that time, and yet I also know I'm really good. I really like people. I really like sort of the sales aspect of my business.
Right.
So if I spend my time doing that and then have people that can do what I can do in 1/3 the time, then all of a sudden that's a profitable opportunity.
That makes a lot of sense. So what 1 or 2 tips would you give somebody who's thinking about starting their own business?
Do it. That's the number one, is that I think that you just have to jump in. So have no fear, but also realize what you do really well and take the time that if it is a business that you want to grow, set the foundation. So I'm not sure how many tips I gave you there, but if you set the foundation, then you will be able to scale and your business will survive. And ultimately, I believe that a lot of people that start businesses, they want things that outlive them.
Right.
So, and that they can put their legacy into, whether it's a jewelry line or if it is a lawn care business.
Right. Thank you so much. This has been really helpful. To learn more about starting your own business, visit our website,